Yo guys, really quick intro. I'm sorry there's still a back screen as I haven't gotten around to buying a new tripod because I've spent a little bit too much money on shoes this month. But in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create 3 types of write-on text in After Effects, and they're getting trickier but better looking each time. Anyways, enough waffle, let's go on with the video. Alright, so now we are inside of After Effects. First off, I'm going to show you the beginner way of doing the write-on text, and this is just using masks and the stroke effect. So we're going to go up here, grab the text tool right here, click here, and then type out the text we want. I'm just going to type out Dom like that. I'm using the font called Retroika, and then I'm just going to like censor whatever. And yeah, I've got my text now. Now this is important or else it's not going to work. I'm going to right click this layer, pre-compose it, move all attributes into new composition, and then we're basically good with that. And now I'm going to grab this pen tool up here, select the layer, and then click on it, and you can see I've created a mask. So now I'm just gonna do masks around like the inside of my text. You're probably familiar with masking if you've used After Effects before. I'd advise using your scroll wheel to sort of zoom in and like about, and use middle mouse to sort of go around so you can get in there on all those angles. And then make sure that you don't connect up the mask. If you connect up the mask, like I clicked on this point here, you'll see that you don't want to do that. You want to leave the mask unconnected, so like this. And then there we go, that looks to be the first letter done. And then now I'm going to create a new mask, so click off, click back on, and then just do the same thing again. And as you can see, the color's changed. That means I've made a new mask. That's the second letter done. Now I'm going to move on to the third letter. Alright, so that is our masking done on our letters. Now we're going to go into our effects and presets. We're going to type in stroke. And you can see here, generate stroke, that's the one we want. Okay, so first off, there's going to be a couple of... Okay, so first off, there's going to be a few settings we need to change. You see this box here that says all masks, check that, brush hardness 100 and spacing 0, and change the paint style to reveal original image. And there we go. Now we're going to set the end to 0 and the start to 100. And now we can fiddle around with the brush size and just increase this until all of the text is visible and there's no missing bits. If you've done your mask really badly, you need to sort of make it in the center. So if I'd done this, for example, and that's really wrong, I'd need to increase it way too much to the point where it would look bad. So you got to make sure your mask is pretty precise. Now we've done that, I can create a keyframe for the start, press U to bring up my keyframes, move this forward like a few frames, set my start to 0. So now we've got a keyframe going from 0 to 100 of the start, and as you can see, it sort of writes on. It's a little bit linear. If I maybe just add a graph, then yeah, if I just change my composition to 60 FPS just to make this look a little bit smoother, there you go. That should give you somewhat of an idea of what it would look like. You could also turn off strokes sequentially, and then it will sort of go on at the same time. It doesn't look great, but if you want the sort of beginner way of doing this, then that is the way to go. If you want even more control with these settings, and you can like control these settings for each letter, then I guess you could just put all your text on different layers, and then that would work. But yeah, that is the easiest way of doing a sort of write-on effect with text. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the intermediate sort of way of doing text. This isn't the best way, but it's a pretty good way of doing it. This is much better than the last way of doing things, but it is a little bit trickier. So do your best to follow along with me. So to do this, you're going to need to make sure that all of your different letters are on different layers. An easy way of doing this is getting the Explode Shape Layers plugin. I'll leave a link in the description. Just click this little button here to convert the entire text into a shape layer. Select the shape layer, and then click this Explode button. Now they're all different letters on different shape layers. They don't need to be shape layers, they just need to be all on different layers. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys with the D. It is the same sort of thing for every letter, but I'm just going to be doing it with the D. So right click, pre-compose, move all attributes into new composition, same that whatever you want, and then enter this pre-comp here. Now we've got our shape layer, we can just zoom in a little bit, and we're going to grab the pen tool up here, click off of this letter, so we've just got the pen tool, and we're going to create a shape layer just by clicking like that. We're going to make sure the fill by clicking this text here, making sure that's set to none, and then the stroke is set to red or any color really, it doesn't really matter, something that stands out. And the pixels you'll find out, I'm just going to randomize this just to show you. So then I'm going to go back onto this by clicking this and continue on with my shape layer, give that a second to load, and there we go. So now I can sort of see that I need to make my stroke about, no, I'd say 90 pixels, just so I have a little bit of leniency in there that I can use. So yeah, now I'm going to do a similar thing to what I did with the mask, except with this sort of shape layer. And yeah, there we go. As you guys can see, that's pretty much the same process. Now we're going to open up our shape layer, click add, and then click trim paths. Now we're going to open up this trim path, set the end to 0, and keyframe the start, go forward a little bit, and then change the start to 100. Now we can just close this, and on the bottom layer, which is like the actual letter, set the track map to alpha matte, and then it'll probably say something like shape layer 1, whatever the layer above is, and then we can play this through. And as you can see, that's worked there. Now I can click on this top layer, press U to bring up the keyframes, and here we have our keyframes. We can sort of control these, and yeah, this is a much better way of doing things in my opinion for a couple of reasons. One, you don't get the sort of weird rounded edge like you did before. and it looks it's sort of a straight blocky line. You also have a little bit more control because you can do things for sort of every letter and all that. Right, now for the final way of doing things. This is sort of the Billy Big Balls method. The setup is sort of the same as it is before, so I haven't actually deleted anything. We're just still in this pre-comp. So now we're going to be using different shape layers to sort of do different lines in the text. You'll see what I mean. So here I've got the greatest graphic design software in the world open, Paint. Damn, I've never actually used this in Windows 11 before. It actually looks sick. Just to show you guys, as we write like letters, so for the D, I'm going to just do with my mouse how I'd normally write on a D. So I do that, like that. So boom, boom. So instead of doing this, I want it to be like this, which we can do using this step. What we're going to do is we're going to do the first line, which just goes down here. We've already got our like 90 pixels. I know that's optimal, so I'm going to create a shape layer that goes just straight down like that. And then I need to make sure that this is exactly on the edge of this line here, so that it's not like interfering with the other bits, like so. There we go. Now I can go in here and add my trim paths, set my end to 0, do my keyframes. Let's go here, start to 100. Might make that a little bit quicker actually. Add a graph as well. And now for the second bit, select off the shape layer and then click again, so we make a new shape layer. And there we go. Now I can just go on my bottom layer and I can actually control C the trim path, go on here, select contents and control V it. So now we have the same trim paths. And then I'm going to go here and just move this forward so that once that's done, that happens. And I might make it so that the graph eases in a little bit more, like that. I made that a bit longer as the motion's a bit longer. And now, because we've got two layers, we're going to pre-compose these two together. And then now set our track mat to that pre-comp one above. And now we can have a look. And as you can see, that is absolutely beautiful. It did take a little bit of time, but that is a beautiful looking right on. It looks so much better than like the first one. You can see the massive amount of improvement. And yeah, then you'd essentially just do the same for every letter. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Thank you very much guys for watching this video. If this video did help you out, feel free to leave a like. That would be very much appreciated. And I will see you in the next one.
That's right, stick it in my ass, yeah, you know that shit is tight. I be fucking up the game, looking like a stain. Y'all are really ready for the shit that I'ma proclaim. If me ask me once, you don't gotta say it twice. I was down the shit already like shrimp fried rice. Fucking up the game, it didn't end that famous Joshy jingle on deck, and nobody can stop the game.